All right, we got Johann Dammert here with me. And, you know, I've interviewed people, UFC fighters, military, high-ranking guys. You're not one of those things. You haven't written a book. You haven't done anything massive yet. But the reason is, how old are you?
19.
19. I got a 19-year-old here with me. The reason I asked you to come here is because in your short time, you've done a lot of things, and you've done things that many adults haven't done, and that's in the business world. I met you, and you must have been, I'm going to guess, maybe 16, and I think it's because you wrote in a Facebook group in the community where we live that you were a 16-year-old entrepreneur, and you were pressure cleaning driveways and backyards and things like that, and you're a hustler, and I hired you. Right? Do I remember correctly?
Yeah, that's exactly like that.
That's how we met. And then you did such a good job that every time they allowed you, I think it was on Thursdays, they would allow you to post on that group. I would always comment. I don't know if you remember, but every time I saw it, I would say, this kid's fantastic, worked for us, great guy. And you came back to our house to do that a little bit. You don't do that business anymore?
I sold the business to my brother now, so he takes care of that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about yourself. Where are you from?
So I was born and raised here in Florida. Lived here my whole life, and I guess I started my business journey when I was 15. Right after COVID, I wanted to make some extra money so I could buy a car. I applied for a bunch of jobs. I applied for like Publix and then a couple of fast food restaurants, and I didn't get accepted to any places. And I really needed money. Like I wanted money to buy myself a car because a car was like freedom to me. So I just decided to pick up a pressure cleaner that my dad had and posted I posted on Nextdoor and Facebook. And then I said, hey, I do pressure cleaning. I've done a couple neighbors, even though I didn't really do any neighbors. But you fake it till you make it, right? And then it actually blew up on Nextdoor, did pretty good. I got a lot of business from that. And then I did on Facebook. I did a bunch of groups. So like all the groups in Broward County. So like Margate, every city in Broward County. And then
So I saw, you were replicating in other neighborhoods?
Yeah. So like in Weston, Sunrise, Pembroke Pines, Plantation. Yeah. And then there's certain groups that just love me. So I have other people just like recommend me without me doing anything. And then I did that so I was like 15, about to turn 16 at the time. And then when I turned 16, I think it was 16. Yeah, 16. I saw on YouTube that there's something that's real estate wholesaling. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, of course.
And so I got into that. I would do cold calling for like 4 hours a day, probably the whole summer when I was in 10th grade. And then after like calling for like a few months, I finally got one deal. It was a small deal. It was like 1.5K. But then that gave me proof of concept.
That's what you earned?
That's what I earned, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided to switch my marketing to SMS text blasting. So I would send out 1,000 messages every day to homeowners. And that's where I landed my second deal. But then at the time I was doing pressure cleaning as well. I just bought a trailer. So I was deciding, should I continue with real estate? Should I continue with pressure cleaning? And I kind of took like the wrong turn here. I should have done real estate, but I continued doing pressure cleaning. And I got 10K off of the second deal I did with the cold texting. And I just spent that all on pressure cleaning and a down payment on my truck that I bought.
And you made 10,000 profit off that.
I think it was 11,000 profit.
What platform were you using for texting all those people?
I can't remember the name now, but like I used a couple different softwares because I had to pull the numbers. I used like 3 or 4 different softwares to do it.
Do you still do that?
I don't do that anymore.
No? Okay, then I can ask more about it. Where'd you get the numbers to call or to text?
PropStream. It was like this service that you could pull up any address and all the information.
Wow. Can you pick like neighborhoods? Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, you could pick like how much equity they have in the house.
Wow.
Like you can go really in detail.
That's why data is so valuable. These companies can do so much with it. Okay. So at this point we're up to what, 16 years old, and you're
16, 17 is when I closed the deal, and then I sold. So I closed the deal. I put like half of that money into a down payment on a truck that I wanted to buy, overpriced truck. I lost a lot of money in that.
Oh, it was COVID, right after COVID.
Yeah.
And vehicles were very expensive, weren't they?
Yeah, but a lot of money I lost. Like it was bad. But and then so 5,000 of that I spent it like onto the trailer. I bought a pressure cleaning trailer, and I was doing pretty good. I cleaned so I did a bunch of different marketing strategies too. So I would do yard signs. So I would put yard signs everywhere.
Oh, I saw them.
Yeah, everywhere. So I got a lot of business. I got a famous rapper's house, which was huge. And
What city?
Southwest Ranches.
Oh, I think I know. No, you don't have to say his name, but is it an all black house?
Yeah.
Oh, I just drove by it the other day and I Googled and I saw who it was.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
And I got a lot of business with that too. But then fast forward, I didn't want to do pressure cleaning anymore because I felt like I could do some more stuff. So then I sold it to my brother. I didn't sell it for too much. I just let him do like seller financing. Yeah. And he has a whole truck now. He has all the equipment. Like,
how old is he?
He just turned 18.
Oh, so he's a year younger than you.
Year younger than me. He ran the business a lot better than I did. Well, really? I gave him like all the clients in the base.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean he's doing really good.
So maybe you're a visionary. You're the guy who gets things started, and he's more of the process guy who can run it better.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Technically, I mean he hired people that were like 23 years old to do the work for him. So he
got those old experienced people.
Yeah. I sold it, and then I had a pickup truck. I didn't have any money coming in. I stopped the real estate thing because I should have done it looking back, but and then so I stopped the real estate, and then I had a pickup truck, and I'm like, all right, well, I can start making money with the pickup truck. So then I posted, hey, I can do junk removal and moving, and then I got a lot of business like that in the Facebook groups in the next door.
You put up signs for that too, right?
Yeah, I put up signs for that too, and then. So that was like a couple months after I sold it, and it was doing pretty good. But then I got like into Google Ads, and that's when business started booming. And then that's when I reached out to YouTube for the loan for the truck, and then I bought that truck, and then business was doing good for a few months, and then the Google Ads just stopped working. And then
what happened?
Like, I actually don't know how to explain it.
Algorithm change.
Just the algorithm. Yeah, the algorithm.
Jeremy, our producer, knows.
Yeah, and it just
you were getting calls, you were getting hits.
Yeah, so Google is something called local service ads, and that was like fairly new, and I was one of the first ones to jump in on the moving industry. So and then my brother did the same thing. He was killing it with that, but then a bunch of people jumped back into it, and now it's a lot harder to do it. But
are you still doing the junk removal and moving?
So I do a little bit on the side, but I realized when I was running the business that. Like I am bringing in money, but I never really took a look at like the profit and loss. Like when I bought the truck, I had to put $5,000 just to fix it up, like after taking out the loan, and I couldn't use it for 3 months. So like $1,000 every single month, paying for the insurance and the payment. Then I put $5,000, and I had employees working for me. I had a couple of my buddies. We were doing the jobs together, and I would just have them take the truck themselves to jobs. And do it like that, but I never really I was making the money, but it was just
your top line grossing the money, but it wasn't as profitable as you'd like. Yeah. It's important to look at that on a regular basis, job by job if necessary, so you can start making those tweaks. I always use the comparison of, let's say that was the New World where Christopher Columbus sailed out of, and he went to the Americas. Well, he couldn't check his compass once a week, or he would have been way off course. Yeah. You got to check it constantly and see if you're going in the right direction. That way you make these micro tweaks. Yeah. Okay, so you learned some lessons there.
Yeah, I learned a lot of lessons.
Still at a young age.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now full time?
So right now I had a sales job, and I'm no longer working at the sales job because I'm creating a new business right now that helps like automate and systemize businesses. So that's something that I was really good with in my business. I was good with like the logistics and actually like running the business, like sending the guys out here. Running automations like on the back end. So that's what I'm doing that with my friends right now, like their businesses. I have a friend with a tinting business. I'm helping my brother's pressure cleaning business and like another friend that does sealing.
To all service companies.
Yeah, home service.
And is it from acquiring leads, getting the client, invoicing, the whole process?
Yeah, like the whole process. So like follow-ups, automated follow-ups using AI now because AI is like the new thing. Yep. So they don't have to, if they don't answer the phone, the AI just texts like ChatGPT, but for their business, you program it to like that, and then it works like the whole software.
And is it like, hey, I tried to get a hold of you? It sounds like a person, or
yeah, like a person, like it types like a person. The AI, yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so first of all, how'd you get like this? Because the normal 19-year-old is goofing around and doing stupid stuff. You're already worrying about you didn't do enough real estate. You went in a different direction. You're living life. Like you're doing the 30-year-old stuff at 19. How'd you get like this?
I just I don't like people telling me what to do, and I like doing whatever I want. So I know that if I want to do whatever I want, I got to make money.
Yeah.
Just do whatever I want.
So you glad you didn't get a job at the grocery store?
Yeah, I'm really glad I didn't.
In the moment, how frustrating was it when you weren't getting hired?
It was pretty annoying because I'm like applying to all these places and like I'm trying to help you, I'm trying to work, but like.
And you would have been a hell of a worker for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever, other than the sales job you recently had, have you ever had another job for someone else?
No.
Wow.
But with the sales job, like that's what made me want to start my own business even more. I was in the top 3% of the salesmen of the company. It's like 500 people in the thing, and I'm only 8 weeks in.
Man. And you're the youngest probably, or one of the youngest.
Yeah, I was literally the youngest one.
Wow. So good thing. In the moment, sometimes we get frustrated that something didn't go our way.
Yeah.
Had things gone your way, you wouldn't be where you are today.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You're 19. Let's see where you're going to end up. This is going to be a fun ride.
It's going to be really exciting. I'm hoping to get back on here in like a year and then see all the progress, because I definitely think it's going to be a bunch.
Oh, I know that for sure. I've said it since the first day I met you.
Yeah.
I remember the way you worked, and then you were working on the driveway. Mm-hmm. And then I think it may have been my mistake communicating. I said to you, hey, there's this little piece in the back on the side that maybe I didn't communicate it, but that was missing. Mm-hmm. And it was already late. You came back the next day and you finished it off. And I go, this guy's legit. You weren't worried about the transaction. You were worried about the relationship. Yeah. And that's how everything you do is going to keep applying and multiplying to what you do. So you're busy. You had started college. You're not in college anymore?
Not in college anymore.
What was that process like? Why did you even sign up for college?
So I really signed up for college because my parents wanted me to, and out of respect, they helped me a lot with everything. So I was like, okay, I'll go to college. I went there for a semester, and it was like, okay, fine. But the second semester, that was when my business was doing really good, and I'm like, I was at the point where I started paying people to do my homework. So I'm losing money going to college. Like I couldn't do the homework because I was like really busy. Yeah. And then I'm like, this just, it doesn't make sense for me. So I'm not going to do it. And especially the assignments we were getting.
Busy work?
It's just like high school. It's busy work.
Give me an example of something that they were giving you that you look at real life, because you've got experience in real life. You go, this is never going to help you.
Yeah, I had an art class that I had to take because I was taking communications, and they gave us a painting. Describe how this painting makes you feel. And why I don't want to do that type of stuff.
Had they changed that and put a dollar bill and said, describe what this dollar makes you feel, right? It's similar assignment, exercises your brain, but it's something that you would have been interested in because you would have talked about business and how you feel when you earn money. Yeah. It's not directed for the individual. It's for the masses. And that's not always good for us. I felt the same way, man. I finished college. It took me 10 years. I was 28 when I finished. And I know this is going to sound crazy and some parents won't like to hear this, but it's one of my biggest regrets is going to college and finishing it. Why? Because I spent all that money. I spent all that time. And I can't tell you too many things that I learned, because when I started college, I was already making money on my own, just like you. So I totally get that. All right. So you're in this business now, helping companies, and you're going to scale this up, hopefully service companies, making them more efficient. What other business ideas do you have for the future?
Well, so the main goal with this like kind of scaling operations that I'm trying to do, it's because I'm trying to move into private equity once I have money. So private equity is my end goal, to have businesses that are, cash flowing and buying them out. And I think that would be better than buying a bunch of real estate with the money I have. And it's always good to put money in real estate, like long-term investments. But to be more efficient, like, how do I say it? Like,
you put your money to work as private equity, you put it into some businesses, come in with a good percentage, and the operator can stay and run that for you with your guidance over time, right, as you learn that industry. Yeah. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, and just higher cash flow than real estate too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So that's what it is.
Yeah, real estate is a great long-term play.
Exactly.
But owning businesses, I did not invest in as much real estate as I would have liked to, because I was buying out businesses.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I bought 14 different businesses in my apparel space before I sold my company, because I do the math and I go, sure, that real estate maybe gives me 7% return for life, which is amazing. Plus value increases. That's all great. But right now I can get like 30% return if I buy this little business for $250,000, and I can make back that money in 3 years. That's pretty good.
Yeah, so, that's exactly my thought process.
Yeah, good. So along the way, feel free to talk to me.
I'll definitely. Because I know you bought like the underwear companies, you bought the other companies out, and then you sold all of them, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So as one deal?
Yeah, I sold it all in one shot.
Nice.
Bought 14 different ones, developed new brands on my own, all of that, but got rid of it all together. Yeah. That's where you make more money because it all rolls into one bigger thing and you exit it. That's what private equity does.
Yeah.
They'll come in and put that money up and then roll it all up. Maybe they buy 3 companies that are related. You buy your competitors, roll them into one. You now own that market. That business is very valuable.
Yeah.
You bought them for 2 times, 3 times profit, let's say. But then when you go do that and you're a bigger player and you got that monopoly, you might get like 4 times profit. So imagine you buy this company that's making $1 million. That makes $3 million. And you paid 3 times profit for all of them. So you paid $9 million. But now you have a $3 million a year, but you roll them into one. It's making $3 million a year. If someone pays you 4 times, you now got $12 million. And all of that costs you $9 million.
Yeah.
So instantly you make the difference. You make $3 million just on putting the deal together. You don't have to even operate them. You now sell it to somebody.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So how many siblings do you have?
2 siblings.
Boys?
2 boys, yeah.
So okay,
younger.
The 3 boys. Your brother's a year younger and he's doing well.
Yeah.
And what about the next one? Is he like you guys?
He's 13. He was doing a little bit of door knocking for like car washing, but he's in 8th grade right now. So he still hasn't really gotten to that point yet, but we'll see.
But what is it? Is it that you decided to be this way and then they followed?
Yeah, my brother definitely followed me, which is a good thing for sure. I just showed him like you can make your like the money we were making when we were pressure cleaning. It's way better than working at a place 8 hours. So it's like.
What were you doing in the summers when you both weren't in school and you're free and you're pressure cleaning? How much money were you making? A top line, and then what's the profit?
For pressure cleaning, I mean, the best I did was like $9K in like 2 weeks. That was summer when it was like doing really good. But I can't remember like how much we were making because I never even used QuickBooks. I just had bank statements when I was like 16.
Money in, money out.
Yeah, money in, money out.
What an irresponsible 16-year-old. You weren't doing QuickBooks?
Nah, I was not doing QuickBooks.
Man, I
wish I did though.
I was selling a few $100,000 a year before I even learned about QuickBooks. I was like, I should probably organize this stuff. Yeah, and I was like late 20s, and I go, if I ever get audited, or from my own knowledge, I don't really know what my profit is. And then I spent a couple of weeks programming every item into my QuickBooks as physical products. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, I ran the inventory through QuickBooks. So I plugged everything in. I created all the pricing, costs, put in vendors. So man, college would have probably been multiple accounting classes for you to get half of that QuickBooks experience that you got by putting it in yourself.
Yeah, not knowing the numbers of your business is definitely scary. Yeah. So that's like that's really where I messed up with my moving company, not knowing, because maybe the profit margins were like 50%, but how much am I paying for ads? Like the advertisements were pretty expensive. So it looked like I'm making money, but then after paying like a couple grand to ads a month, I'm really not making anything. Might as well work at Publix or something. Yeah. So.
That's good that you learned that at such an early age. Yeah. I've mentored through some volunteer organizations, some younger entrepreneurs. And so many times where I'm looking at their P&L, which first of all takes some months to put together, either because they didn't have it, they don't know how to get it. And then we start looking at it and I show them the math. One little tip that I like to do when you run a P&L in QuickBooks, and I forget the buttons now because I personally have not gone in QuickBooks in like 9-10 years. I've had people to do that. But one of the things to do is add percentages to each line. So imagine you're looking at profit and loss. Here's all your sales. Here's all your costs, right? And there's a dollar amount next to it. Well, next to that, it'll drop in a percentage. And the percentage is based on sales. That's how you should click it. And when you do that, okay, so it says sales $1 million, 100%. Cost of goods sold, 300,000, 30%. And then it breaks every line into percentages. And at the very bottom, it says net profit. And there's a percentage there. And that number, for me, changed my life because I used to have a wholesale business at 17% wholesale. So I sold a couple $1 million and I'd make 300 and something thousand, right? So I saw that 17%. And I didn't learn this on my own. I hired my first business coach. He's retired now. His name was Johann. And he said, let's look at these percentages. When I saw the 17%, he said, we could put more salespeople, we could grow the business, but wouldn't you rather grow this number to the highest percentage you can? And when you do, now let's invest in ads and people, right? So that changed my whole perspective. We went from wholesaling to direct to consumer. We started buying e-commerce websites. And what happened is that 17% got to like 33%. Same amount of work, similar sales, but now we're at 33%. So now we started making over $500,000. Money was real. And then we started pouring gas on the fuel, on the fire. And we started buying companies and all. So do that. I highly recommend get that percentage, net profit
percent of revenue.
Yeah, percent. Yeah, of top line sales. And then you start making tweaks, and then you can put more money into it. All right. When you were little, you didn't worry about money? Were you selling things when you were little, or really was just the car that you wanted that drove this?
I mean, the car was the biggest factor, but I did like, I would say sold like, there was like Supreme, like Yeezys and stuff like that, but I was never really successful at that. I would always miss the drops, and I tried to buy them and then sell them, but I was never really good at that. But yeah, I would say the car just motivated me to do everything.
Good. I think it was something. Do you think you'll have partners in the future, or you like doing things on your own?
As far as business wise?
Yeah.
Depending on what business, like for this business I'm starting right now, I want to do it myself. But if I'm buying a business, like you said, I'd have maybe a partner that we buy it together. They do the operations, and maybe I put the money in, or however that might be. But yeah, it just depends on the business for sure.
Yeah. It's something to consider. So tell me, what's the lesson you learned when you said about buying that overpriced truck? What'd you learn?
Patience.
What would have been different had you been patient?
If I just waited, like I saw the truck, it was $28,000. It was a Ford F-150 with like 180,000 miles. So it was like 20,000 miles, it was gone. And I really wanted it because it had nice wheels. And I just, like, we put a down payment on it. But if I waited like a couple days, I could have seen like way better prices. But also COVID was really high. But I did so I put 10K in it for like equity wise for a year. And then the year after that, I lost like the whole 10K because it was worth 16K. So
wow,
I paid that for nothing.
The only good thing, you did have some utility out of it. You did get to use it, and there's a value there.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah. Years ago, I sold a house that I paid, I'm trying to remember the numbers. I paid like $460,000 for a house. I lived in it for 7.5 years. And when I went to sell it, the market was way down, and I sold it for $410,000. And I remember calling my dad and saying, it's kind of frustrating. I paid $460,000 or whatever, and I sold it for $410,000. I lost $50,000. And he says, yeah, but did you live in it? And I said, yeah, I did for 7.5 years. And he goes, there's a cost to that. You could have been paying rent anywhere, right? Things have costs.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that made me feel a little better. Still, the lessons are learned. Still not going to blow money, but at least that gives you a little bit of, okay, yeah, all right, things have a cost. If you had rented trucks all those months, the 12 months, you would have had a cost there too.
Yeah, I mean, now if I were to do it again, I would just buy like a $40,000, $50,000 truck personally, because I had so much problem with trucks that I would put like thousands of dollars into them, and it would just kill me. Money pit. Like, I got another truck. It was like $12,000, and I put $5,000 into it, and just to sell it for like $7,000, like a year later.
Yeah, well,
I had a bad experience with
vehicles. Do that, not just trucks. I bought a nice BMW years ago, and I live like the book, The Millionaire Next Door. I'm not a wasteful guy. I save a lot of money, but I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to buy this beautiful car. I never bought a car like this. In fact, I hardly ever had new cars. This was not a new car. It was 1 year old. So 30-something thousand had already come off of it because it was a year old. So I thought, I'm getting a pretty good deal. In 1 year, it's already lost 30,000. Well, I drove that car around, and I was happy with it for like the first month or two. And then it just became the car. I didn't care anymore. Beautiful, big car, nice. Well, when I decided to sell it, was 18 months later, it lost another 30-something thousand. And I thought, that was not a good investment. In fact, I had expenses during those 18 months, and I put it on a spreadsheet just so I could see it. And I put the purchase price here and all the expenses I had, and I added that up, thousands and thousands of dollars. But then on top of that, guess what the biggest expense was? The depreciation in value. It lost a lot of money just having it. And that's the last time I bought a nice car. I don't buy expensive cars. I don't buy very nice cars. I'd rather get that extra money and put it to work so that it makes me money. So hopefully, you learned a lot of those lessons and you don't repeat them, and now you get smarter because of them. Do you ever see yourself in the future? You're very young right now, but do you ever imagine yourself married, kids? Is that an interest to you?
It is an interest to me. But I'm definitely, I mean, it just depends, right? Like, but I definitely do want to have kids, so I'll continue the legacy.
Yeah. Do you have a girlfriend?
I don't have a girlfriend, no.
What do you see with young people where they're missing the mark, where they're not completing their life, they're not living to their potential. Do you see that, first of all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
What does it make you think when you see that?
I mean, the biggest thing is like they don't have a purpose and they don't have like a discipline. So like I have a purpose that I've been like lacking with discipline, but I over the years I've been, try to practice discipline so I could actually be disciplined. Because I do, like, I'm comfortable. Like, I live in Weston, and my parents can take care of me whenever. So that's why I've struggled with discipline a little bit. Just like not working. Oh, I'll just work tomorrow because I have food, I have house. Like,
yeah.
And at least my people around me, a lot of people are in Weston. They're super comfortable and they don't have a purpose. They're not going to really do anything. You're just going to follow the crowd, go to college. And if you want to go to college and do something, absolutely. But go with the purpose, not just to go to college.
Yeah. I think about that with fighters. Fighters who grow up in a really rough neighborhood have a huge incentive to get out of there. First of all, they don't have good food. They don't have good role models. They're getting in fights. They're in a rough neighborhood. They're hearing gunshots. They're hearing sirens. Those people are hungry to work really hard and get out of there. Same any kind of athlete. I see some urban football kids that are 12 years old, and I are 8 years old, some of them, and I see them at the park where I train a lot. They're running up those hills like their life depends on it. I bet you take middle class, upper middle class, wealthy kid in suburbia, and you tell them, all right, you're going to run up these hills like your life depends on it. And they're going to say, I don't need to do that. So it probably applies to what you're talking about.
That's exactly the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. So good. I'm glad you realized that. And it's good because I think you're one of the most disciplined young men I know, and yet you feel like you're not disciplined enough.
Yeah.
So you got to do hard things.
I do have to do hard things. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you gone in my cold plunge before?
I have not gotten into cold plunge.
All right. There's a start.
Yeah.
We'll set a time after this. Come over.
Let's do
Come
it.
to my cold plunge. That's a little thing that's hard because your brain doesn't know the difference if it's in there for a second or two or you're going to die. And by putting yourself through that, it makes you realize that, okay, I didn't die. What else can I accomplish? Right. And also you get to decide the hardest thing you'll do that day. And the next time when you have an issue with the client, it's not that bad. You're not dying. Yeah. I spent a day with Jocko Willink in San Diego, the former Navy SEAL commander. And I asked him, we were walking around Victory MMA, beautiful facility for MMA training and boxing, jiu-jitsu, everything. And I said, Jocko, when you got out of the military, what was your first business? Because he owns a bunch of stuff, top-selling books, all these things. And he said, this was my first business. And I said, this massive center with 2 floors, and this was your first business? I mean, it wasn't a lemonade stand. He went all out. And he said, yeah, not only that, we bought this building. It was a racquetball center. We knocked out the walls. We gutted it and created it into this. I go, wow, sounds so stressful to go for, first time in business, coming out of the government, out of military. I said, were you, since you're a type A, worry about things type of guy, get on top of it, did you stress out? And he goes, nope. And I was so confused. I go, how did you not stress out? And he said, because as I thought about it, nobody could die. And, oh, wow, this guy's been through some stuff. He's seen his friends get killed. And when you've been through stuff like that, everything else is pretty easy, right? So again, you do hard things, and I think you will build the discipline that you think you need. And I agree. Discipline is so important to get you on those hard days where you don't want to work, where it's too hot outside, it's too cold, it's raining, you only got a couple customers today, so why service them? No, Take care of them. Get out there and do it. Yeah. Any other lessons you've learned or anything you want to leave us with for ideally, you know what? There's other 19-year-olds out there. There's 18. There might be a 40-year-old out there who's not getting after it the way you are. What do you recommend they do? So another big thing is, so you can be a really good, businessman and whatnot, but if you're in the wrong industry, like a dying industry, then you're not really going to do anything. I would say what I'm doing, I'm tapping into the online world using AI, using systems and automations. And so I'm taking my business online so I could work whenever I want, so I don't have to be pressure cleaning houses or just doing stuff there. And then, you could outsource people from India, what's the other place? Philippines, anywhere. And you could get really good talent. You can get, personal assistants, and you can just leverage other people's work. People have great skills overseas. Yeah. And just, leverage, use the online, because the online is great. That's how I did it when I was 17, calling people online. And just be consistent. Pick one thing and be consistent. Yeah. And you're right. There's so many good business people out there who get into the wrong thing, and it's dying, and they don't let go because it's all they know, and they have hope that it'll get better. Yeah. It may not. That's great. You are versatile. You've moved around as you need to. You've pivoted and jumped into different things. I'm really excited about seeing you continue to grow. So I'm glad that you're around and that I get to see and watch. And man, thanks for being here and for inspiring a lot of people to do more than what they've been doing.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.